My name is Clara Jenkins, and I am 27 years old. I live in the small town of Brightfield, USA, where life tends to move at a leisurely pace. For the past 4 years, I have worked at a widely known retail chain store, starting off as a second in command to a fantastic manager who genuinely cared about her team. She was great at her job, and under her guidance, everything ran smoothly. But one day, she had to leave because of personal reasons, and that was the beginning of a downward spiral. After she departed, we received a new manager, and he was, well, let's just say, not up to par. His name was Jerry, and while he was a nice enough guy with whom I could waste hours chatting about video games, that was about where his strengths ended. He had a lot of manager experience, but lacked any real knowledge of retail. This combination made his management style incredibly frustrating. For 3 long years, I tried my best to keep things afloat, while Jerry seemed to spend most of his time shuffling stock around the shelves for the 10th time that week. He took forever to complete his manager duties, and whenever he was out, I could easily do all of his work in half the time. If only I had known that the job would involve so much of his workload, I might have thought twice before not applying for the manager position myself. But then there was one flaw in his management style that drove me to the brink of madness. He repeatedly left the safe wide open and regularly placed bank slips full of cash on the desk right outside the warehouse. I could hardly believe that after all this time, no one had ever stolen any money. It was like a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. One fateful day, everything changed when I discovered 4 or 5 slips of cash resting casually on that desk, just begging to be taken. Jerry was absent, having inexplicably disappeared for one of his long bathroom breaks, as he often did. I instantly saw an opportunity and decided to play a little prank. I checked the warehouse to ensure my other colleague was in on it, someone else who shared my frustrations with Jerry's incompetence. Without hesitation, I casually knocked one of the slips behind the desk. When Jerry finally returned, I watched with delight as he hopped back and forth between the desk and the safe, his face pale with worry. I called out to him, pretending to be concerned, and asked him what was wrong. That was when he finally confessed that he had misplaced a bank slip. His expression was a mixture of dread and panic as he realized the implication of leaving cash out in the open. I kept dropping comments to really get under his skin, suggesting he might have to explain to higher management how he had let money go missing because it was left unattended. Jerry's eyes grew wide as he processed my words. He was about to face the music, and I could see the tension building inside him. He began pacing back and forth, replaying the past half hour in his mind. He realized he could check the camera footage, but of course, the desk itself was outside its range. I knew he might try to pin the blame on someone else, since he had left it out there without a second thought. I enjoyed every moment watching him squirm as he meticulously reviewed footage of delivery drivers coming in and out, sweating bullets as the clock ticked on. My colleague was fueled by my relentless prodding, repeating my insinuations about how Jerry should have followed protocol. After what felt like an eternity, Jerry decided he was going to call our area manager. At that moment, it looked like the weight of the world was pressing down on him. Luckily, my colleague could not hold back any longer. He leaned over and found the money that had been mysteriously hidden behind the desk the whole time. I watched as Jerry's worried expression effortlessly transformed into relief. That look was worth every second of the build-up. I probably would have chosen to let Jerry explain it to the area manager before slipping the money back, but my colleague had a more merciful heart. In a way, it was noble of him to do that, but honestly, it would have been more satisfying to see the consequences of Jerry's negligence unfold. I had watched him leave cash unattended too many times, and this prank was my way of pushing back against that. In the end, everything was resolved. Upper management never knew what had happened, and my little prank remained undiscovered. I could finally breathe a sigh of relief after years of being plagued by Jerry's incompetence. I hoped this would serve as a teachable moment for him, perhaps a lesson in responsibility that would stick. After that incident, Jerry made sure never to leave money out in the open again. Life at the store continued, and while it was not entirely free of chaos, it certainly improved. I still chuckle to myself every time I recall that day, the satisfaction lingering like a sweet revenge that finally quenched my thirst for justice in the little universe of retail that I inhabited. It was a small victory in the grand scheme of things, but sometimes that is all we really need to change our outlook and find a bit of joy in the ordinary madness around us. And, While there is always more to share about Jerry's blunders, I will cherish that moment as a pivotal turn, not just for him, but for me as well.